Hey everybody, it's me, Mr. Wright, and welcome to Wright at the Movies. Today, I'm going to run through my top 10 list of 2014. This was a great year for movies, and there was a lot to pick, and it was really hard for me to narrow it down. I was going to do a top 5 list, but then I found that I loved a lot of movies this year, and before I knew it, I wrote up a top 10 list, a top 15 list, but I had to round it down to an even top 10. So without further ado, here's my top 10 list. Now, if one of your favorite movies or one of your least favorite movies isn't on this list, I'm really sorry. This is my top 10 list, and these were the movies that affected me this year. Coming in at number 10 was a big surprise for me, and for a lot of people out there, was Tom Cruise in Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, or All You Need Is Kill, whatever the title you like the best is, this was a really big surprise for a lot of people. After Tom Cruise's last sci-fi epic he tried to do, Oblivion, which I kind of liked. It had some problems, but it was a really cool movie still. The trailer for this came out, and it looked like the exact same movie. Tom Cruise just trying to still be relevant is what it felt like, and everybody was really worried about it, but when it finally came out, my god, was it cool. It's like a mix between Groundhog Day and Starship Troopers, and that sounds so crazy, right? You're like, that sounds dumb, that sounds weird, but I'm telling you, it's so cool. And just, even though it's full of like CGI, like explosion fests, and I can imagine like 90% of this movie was just on a green screen, it still has this spark of creativity to it that is really refreshing. The story has clear points that go through. Every fight scene kind of has a point. It almost kind of feels like a video game, and that usually is said in a bad way when in talks about movies, but this time I mean it in a good way. Like, he keeps dying and then he relives the past life again and tries to do it again better next time. It's totally like a video game where, like, okay, that way didn't work, let me try this, let me try that, and like it's really cool. Eventually he has to take down the alien the queen of the aliens, and after that his power goes away and he has to do it all over again one more time with no respawns, with no resets. I think that's really fresh and cool, and like I said, it was a really big surprise, and that's why it's my number 10. Coming in at number 9, I just saw it like 3 weeks ago, Snowpiercer. This one was really cool. It was directed by, like a Korean director, so it has this really artsy feel to it, and even though it felt still kind of American, it also had this really strong, like, Korean feel to it. It's Chris Evans, and they're on this train. The whole world's been frozen over, and they're on this train, and they're just rolling through the world forever now. The only survivors, hypothetically, the only survivors on Earth are on this train, and they're just barreling through the train tracks, and it's train tracks that go all the way around the entire world. And Chris Evans and his whole friends and family are in the back of the train where the poor people are, and they are treated like crap, etc. They want to get to the front of the train where everything's nice and they eat steaks and they have parties and everything. So he goes at war with the front of the train, and it's unbelievable, the imagery that this movie gives you later on. There's some really crazy stuff. There's this part when they walk through the aquarium car, and it's like glass, like at SeaWorld with the glass, and they look up and there's all these fish, and it's beautiful. And the movie goes, it just gets crazier and crazier, and it has this really important message about the balance of, like, the first class and the last class, and like all of this really relevant stuff right now when everybody's coming to a head about class warfare. I loved it. It's really cool, and has something for American movie fans and something for Korean movie fans, to come up with some kind of middle ground. Coming in at number 8 was The Lego Movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. At first, I thought it was going to be a very kind of like fun but not very crazy like kids movie with a bunch of Lego characters, and that was going to be it. It was going to sell a lot of toys, and that was going to be that. But boy, oh boy, was I surprised. They built this entire mythology and universe that could be almost the next Marvel universe. There's so much going on in this Lego world. You know, like all the other Lego worlds are together. There's like walls separating them all, so they have to stay apart. And it's got this really important message about creativity and thinking outside the box and, you know, like not following the rules. And it's really emotional. And when that hook comes in near the end, it really hits you. And with main characters like Chris Pratt as Emmett, and of course Will Arnett as Lego Batman, with cameos by the Star Wars characters and the DC universe and the Ninja Turtles and every other Lego toy you could ever imagine possibly is in this movie. And like, it still has this really fun, cool message, but also still totally feels like a commercial for Lego toys. It's awesome, and it has really funny jokes. It was my favorite animated movie of the year. Coming in at number 7 is Captain America: Winter Soldier. This is how you continue a movie universe and still make things fresh, is try to shake up what makes the character so confident. He's learned what society expects of him now in the 21st century, so let's flip that. You know, even after all this time, we can still do cool things with Captain America, and a cool Bourne Identity spy thriller with Captain America? Sign me up. And with returning characters from the Avengers and returning characters from his first movie, Winter Soldier just knocks it out of the park with just character psychology and also just really awesome cinematography. Captain America is still my favorite Avenger, and this movie may even change your mind and make him your favorite Avenger. A character that dresses in the American flag is now being hunted by the American government. Yeah, he definitely stands for something. He stands for what America should be standing for. Truth, justice, etc, etc. This guy really is the whole deal. Staying in the Marvel Universe, number 6 is going to Guardians of the Galaxy. I could rave about this movie for years. This movie is so good, and it's definitely like Marvel just trying something new. Everyone's a little worried about superhero fatigue. It's not really affecting me, but I can definitely understand people getting a little tired of every single superhero in the movies nowadays. So Marvel said, whatever, let's try it out. Here's a talking raccoon in a tree. And like, everyone was like, is Marvel crazy? Including me, was like, are they crazy? What the hell is this? I've never even heard of this. And man, was I surprised. This was like Star Wars meets Firefly meets the Avengers. And it's so awesome. I saw it 6 times in the theater. Once in IMAX, which blew my mind, with an awesome soundtrack and amazing characters. If you're one of the only people on Earth that still hasn't checked this out, what are you doing, man? It's out on DVD right now. Just go watch it. Just go watch it. Go on. Pause my review and go watch it. Guardians of the Galaxy. Coming in at number 5 is my first exposure to this director. But man, after seeing this, I went right afterwards and I watched everything else I could get my hands on from that director. Wes Anderson's Grand Budapest Hotel. This movie is so beautiful. Every single frame is just meticulously crafted. And it even has this letterboxing through the whole movie that is like some kind of dollhouse. So that the entire movie and every single frame is just made for you, for the perfect viewing experience. Almost the entire movie is done in this 1-point perspective, point to the center, like mirroring. You know, you could chop the screen down the middle and everything is matching. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it blew my mind when I was watching it. And right afterwards, I went and watched The Aquatic Life of Steve Zissou and The Royal Tenenbaums, The Fantastic Mr. Fox. And the story is so compelling and really convoluted. There's like 1, 2, 3 stories going inside of each other. It's like some kind of daydreams of some madman who's just looking into a very fancy dollhouse and just imagining what people's lives would be like in that dollhouse. Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Jude Law, Willem Dafoe, Adrian Brody, This cast is just packed with so much fun, interesting characters and scenes. Definitely check it out. Coming in at my number 4, Nightcrawler. I already did a review of Nightcrawler. If you're looking for more, check it out right here. Nightcrawler was just so fantastic. The guy can act. The guy can really become a character. And like I said in the review, you know, he's really good at playing a creep. He played it in Donnie Darko, and he's playing a very similar kind of quiet, reserved, almost robot-like character in this that is so fascinating. And his just the way he climbs up the ladder from being a nobody to being a very successful, like, cameraman in the news industry, and everybody he screws over to get to the top, you can't take your eyes off it. It's a very interesting character study. The whole time you're just wondering, like, how he works like this. How does a human being function with this amount of awfulness? I don't know what else to say. We're down to the final 3. This is when stuff gets really tough for me because I reordered these a lot. Number 3, Interstellar. Christopher Nolan's film Interstellar was beautiful. It was like a 21st century 2001 in almost every way. Matthew McConaughey surprised me, Anne Hathaway being as awesome as always as Anne Hathaway. Michael Caine is there. Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway launch into space to look for a more suitable home because Earth is drying up and they have to find a new home, and so they're in space just looking for it, and the planets they go to are just out of this world, pun intended, and it just blew me away. I saw it yet again in IMAX 3D, and 3 hours flew by like nothing. It had this wonderful, beautiful story about space and, you know, the human condition and not giving up on hope and love, and it had this kind of feeling to it that I always get when I'm thinking about the Apollo missions to the moon. It's some of the most inspirational stories I can ever think of, and this movie feels like more of that. With an ending that made me want to watch the entire movie all over again, Interstellar has been stuck in my mind ever since I saw it. Coming in at number 2 is David Fincher's newest movie, Gone Girl. You know, watch Gone Girl. Just watch it. It's awesome. Ben Affleck plays the husband, and Rosamund Pike plays the wife, and she goes missing, and he has to find her. Everyone suspects him of murdering her, but he believes that he hasn't. It's really hard to say much here without spoiling it. I really don't want to spoil it because if you know what's going on, it ruins like the entire movie. It's this dark, mysterious, uncomfortable movie that just is just awesome. It's unbelievable the amount of things that these characters go through and that these characters put each other through. Because I had no idea what to expect going in, but I knew I was expecting a David Fincher movie, and boy oh boy does he direct beautiful but also very dark and uncomfortable movies. And coming in at number 1, if you know me very well, you pretty much can guess what my number 1 is. But number 1 is Birdman. Birdman. Michael Keaton, Emma Stone, Edward Norton, Zach Galifianakis. Everybody kicks ass in this movie, and I loved it. It was so good. The entire movie is just beautiful with one constant shot. Now, it's obviously not one constant shot, but it was shot in a way to make you think it was. Every single frame, every single scene just perfectly, beautifully flows into the next. You never feel a cut or cut. The whole time, it just never ever stops. It's 2 hours of this poor guy who used to play a superhero is now just trying to be taken seriously as an actor. And he doesn't know if he was ever supposed to be a seriously taken actor to begin with. It's a little powerful in real life too, because Michael Keaton is playing the character and there's some definite mirroring going on. I loved it. Birdman. My number 1. Check all of these movies out. They're all so amazing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Mr. Wright. I just started reviewing in 2014, but I'm loving every single second of it, and I want to keep going. If you guys like this, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Every comment and like really does help. I'm still learning as I go, and if anybody's watching after almost half a year. I really thank you for helping me. I really appreciate it. I love doing these reviews and I love talking about movies. I've never been happier and more artistically proud of myself. I love doing this. I finally feel I've found something that I really, really love. I hope you guys do too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.